is great.
Good
Welcome
morning,
everyone who's
everybody.
joining.
Yeah.
We'll wait a few more, maybe a few more seconds or a minute here, let people join in. So we'll be running a minute late. This is great.
I hope everybody's warm and cozy wherever you are.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
More people just filtering in.
We had about 35 registrations, so not quite getting there yet. But this will be recorded, so if anyone does miss it or wants to watch it afterwards, we can, or it is being recorded. We will share the link afterwards as well.
Absolutely.
So I guess to be mindful of everyone's time, I think we'll get rolling.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Adrian, and with me is Gloria. She's the Summit co-lead. We also
Good
have
morning.
Paramita from API here. So the three of us are going to present this morning and just give some information on the Startup TNT Life Sciences Summit. And really, this is a session for the companies looking to apply. This presentation is being recorded, and we will be sharing the link afterwards. So certainly we see that the deadline for applications is January 24th. So we see companies who learn about this over the period of time. But really, the intent today is to give some information. Take any questions you may have. Please feel free to ask questions through the presentation. Like, you don't need to wait. Just maybe raise your hand using the hand raising tool, and then we'll ask you to come off mute. And also feel free to type your questions in the chat. And if I'm speaking, Gloria will probably try and monitor the chat. And as Gloria or Paramita are speaking, I'll monitor the chat for those questions as well. So with that, I think we'll also save some time. We're budgeting sort of 30 minutes for the presentation, and then as much as 30 minutes for questions and answers. Shouldn't need that long. Something I've seen done as well is, in that, if we have enough time, we may even give an opportunity for each company to give sort of a quick 30-second intro of who you are and what you're doing as a little sort of promo and teaser for us going ahead. So think about that. Maybe if you want to pass, that's fine. But certainly this is a great opportunity for us to start to get to know you as we roll into the summit series. So I guess I'll start just saying thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for coming to the session. And I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay, so can everyone see those slides? Yeah, so I'm not going to watch or actually I'll see what I can do here to watch that. No, I can't. Gloria, if you can let me know if anyone raises their hands as we go through, that would be great.
Yeah, I've got you. No problem.
Okay, so once again, welcome everyone. This is a quick intro. We're going to spend 30 minutes here giving some information. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll ask you to come off mute or type your questions in the chat. So that this is the second Life Sciences Summit that we have run at Startup TNT in partnership with API, or powered by API, our lead organizing sponsors. And just to give you all a little background, maybe some of you don't know what TNT is, maybe you've seen TNT before. Startup TNT started in Edmonton on our co-founder's birthday as a happy hour for the startup community to bring angel investors and startups together. That evolved into, like, an idea was born to actually run an investment summit or a pitch competition where the angel investors would then invest in companies. And through that now, I'll get to the impact numbers in a few slides here, but through that now we've run 19 summits and we've invested in over 60 companies. So it's really evolved. We've expanded from Edmonton to Calgary, Regina, Saskatoon, and then most recently to Winnipeg. So, and Gloria's in Winnipeg, I'm in Calgary. We still also run those happy hours every Thursday in all 5 cities at 6 p.m. So yeah, impact, as I mentioned, since that time, we've run 19 summits. We just finished 4 summits in Q4 just a few weeks ago. It was our inaugural summit in Manitoba. and we also had summits in Saskatchewan, Calgary, and Edmonton. Over that time, we were still closing those last deals, so these numbers will definitely grow. But in that time, we have raised over $8 million for startups in the pre-seed and seed stages. And that's over 60 startups. And we've actually brought to the table over 230 investors for these startups. So it's angel investors for these startups. Here's just some, not all, of the logos of the companies that we have funded. And I will just share that, in there, we've run one life science summit, but in this time, we've actually, in our regular summits, we've also had a number of life sciences companies who have won. We've invested in 12 life sciences companies, and of that, over 8 million, almost 3 million of that has been specifically for life sciences digital health companies. So it's just shy of $3 million of that 8 has been for life sciences. Our investor pool is very, very keen on life sciences. In our most recent summit, 2 of our winners, our winner in Edmonton was 48 Hour Discovery, and our winner in Calgary was Nimble Science, both working in the life science and digital health spaces. Okay. So who are our partners? As I mentioned, our lead organizing partner, we're really happy to have at the table, is Applied Pharmaceutical Innovation. We have Marina and we have Paramita here. We'll have a slide showing all the people, but we also have an incredible community of organizing partners. We're working with Halo Health, Thin Air Labs, Health Cities, Innovate Calgary, specifically their USeed fund, Edmonton Unlimited, W21C, which is based at the University of Calgary. And we also have a new partner coming to the table. We're just working with them right now, and that's Biosciences Manitoba. So we just talked to them yesterday, so they are keen to get involved here as well. We also have our other partner. We have our core funding partner. Startup TNT is a not-for-profit. We bring angel investors to the table, and we wouldn't be able to do that without our funding partners at Alberta Innovates and Prairies Can. We also have our community supporters. We have Platform Calgary, where we actually were members of Platform, and we're going to be hosting the finale for this summit at Platform Calgary. And we're also partner with the Life Sciences Innovation Hub at the University of Calgary, and our friends at Deal Closer help us with our angels and getting all our deals put together. And so I've lost my notes here, so I got to make sure I've got them somewhere. But this is still okay. So here's our team. So there's Gloria. Gloria in Winnipeg. She's the summit co-lead. She led the Manitoba summit, and she's an incredible resource there for any companies in Winnipeg, Manitoba. But of course, either of us are available anytime. I'm in Calgary, and we have Paramita, who's going to take over the next 3 slides after this. But also we have we have an incredible team of operations people. We have Dom and Jonah, who really make the magic happen behind the scenes. We have Amanda, who leads all of our marketing and promotions. She's the one who's going to be sharing information and posts about the summit and your companies. We also have Tim, our co-founder, one of our 2 co-founders in Edmonton, who's really our deal specialist at Guru. He does all things finance, and can work with you founders on your deal structures. And then Paramita, maybe you want to introduce yourself and Marina. Maybe I'll let you to go from there and then take the next few slides.
Absolutely. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Hello, everybody. I am super, super happy to be here today. As many of you probably already know, I am myself an active believer in TNT and the work they do. And it is absolutely really a very special moment to be here as an organizing partner. So my name is Paramita. I am the Director of Programs and Ecosystem Development for Applied Pharmaceutical Innovation. And I have in the team key members, we do have Marina, my program manager. However, because of a conflict, she couldn't attend. We were booked for 3 different meetings this morning. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it. She couldn't make it to this one, but I'm sure you will get a chance to meet her in the future. She is the one who has direct connections with all the different companies, the different startups, as she manages an incubator for life sciences in the Health Innovation Hub, which is here at the University of Alberta in Edmonton. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So, as Adrian started off by talking about TNT and what they have been doing, I will just quickly give an introduction about API to those of you who might not be familiar. API stands for Applied Pharmaceutical Innovation, and those of you from a pharmaceutical background would also know API stands for Active Pharmaceutical Ingredients. So it actually came together very nicely because the idea started from the pharmacy department and from the faculty of pharmacy, but it has moved and now we are all over in different types of life sciences, including digital health, different types of therapeutics, including drugs and pharmaceuticals. So API was started as to bring the life-saving research to the real world. And what does that mean? That means that we have such a huge amount of innovation happening in our post-secondaries. And then how can we harness that innovation and bring that to a commercial landscape? And that is why API was started. So today, API is a national not-for-profit. We have operations here in Edmonton, in Calgary, and we also have team members in Toronto. So I will be moving into talking a little bit more about API in specifics in the next slide. Thank you. So as I said, it started as it's a national not-for-profit, started from the University of Alberta. Our co-founder, Andrew McIsaac, he's the CEO, our founder, Andrew McIsaac, he's also the CEO of API. He had a vision, and he basically had the vision that in order to build an innovative and vibrant life sciences sector, there needs to be a framework, and that needs to bring together the different resources which are available in the post-secondary institutions, in the innovation that is happening, the companies, the students, all of them into a framework which can also connect them to the industry so that industry benefits from getting the technology which is happening at the post-secondaries, and the post-secondaries and the students benefit from directly working on projects which are there in the industry. So this started from the Faculty of Pharmacy. We have an office in the Gates building at the University of Alberta campus, but we also have another sister site in the Life Sciences Innovation Hub in Calgary, and as well as in Toronto. So the the main part of it is bringing together the three main sections. One of them, the institutions. The second one is the academics. And the third one is API, which provides that framework to connect the industry projects with the staff who are trained, and which helps researchers, companies with their different research requirements. And we work with multiple different partners, such as MITACs, such as the federal government, and others. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yes, and so very excited to talk to you about the Canadian Critical Drug Initiative. This idea started very interestingly just before COVID. So it was not something that COVID initiated. The discussion was about the need for having integrated research development and a biomanufacturing cluster. And that's needed in this part of in the prairies in Alberta, and which can service a big part of the life sciences sectors and the needs for the different companies. And with that reason, we applied for funding. I'm very happy to say that we are almost in that section of hearing back good news announcements coming. We are very hopeful of having that come forward. This is a project in collaboration with the Li Ka-shing Institute of Virology from the University of Alberta, and it is a project funded by all different levels of government. So thank you. I think this is going to be a really interesting one. If you can move to the last one, this is, I believe. Thank you so much. This will give you a better idea about what API is. So if you go into our website, appliedpharma.ca, you can find more about us, and also happy to connect with, if you want to connect with me, I will also put in my personal information in the chat. Thank you so much, Adrian.
Well, thank you so much for that, Paramita. That was super helpful, insightful, and informative. And big thanks to API for their part in coming alongside and partnering with us for our second Life Sciences Summit. So we're going to move along forward, but again, don't be shy. Pump your questions into the chat or raise your hand. Adrian will be keeping an eye on that for us. So if you've never been a part of one of our investment summits before, you're listening to all of this information, maybe it's feeling a tad overwhelming, so we're just going to break it down for you as best we can. And so let's maybe talk for just a moment about why being a part of this summit is important for your company as you're going through your fundraising journey. So, some of the top things that really come to mind is that I believe that founders and entrepreneurs really gain a significant amount of experience connecting and talking to investors and sharing the unique value proposition of your company. You get a lot of practice doing this. So even if you're new to this, not to worry, this is a great place to learn. For companies that are going, making it from our top 20 to top 10 stage, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. You're going to, be building out a data room, and you're going to get the chance to go through a due diligence process. The feedback that you're going to get from the investors that are around the table is really valuable, and you'll find that you're meeting a lot of investors that are really passionate about this space and have all kinds of ways that they can help and support you. And so, through this, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to increase your visibility overall in the life sciences community. This is an opportunity to showcase what you have built and why this is so important to this space. And of course, raising money and taking a part of one of these summits, it's meant to also really have an opportunity to help you scale as well. We can just pop to the next slide. Great, perfect, thanks. So let's talk a little bit about what our goals are for this Life Sciences Summit. What we would absolutely love to see is 40 plus companies applying to be a part of the summit. This makes for a great amount of companies for investors to look through and really, have a chance to be introduced to you and your company initially. We very much strive to bring 30 plus angel investors in for our summits and get them going around the table and taking part in active due diligence with you. And at the end of the day, we want to see a $200,000 plus check being written as an investment into the ultimate winner of Life Sciences. And based on previous accomplishments of these goals in our first summit, we truly believe that these are very attainable goals. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so let's talk for a second about the special purpose vehicle around how this summit is run and how these angel investments get made. The way we've structured this is to put this together in the most efficient way possible for the companies that are receiving investment. So every investor buys a seat at the table for $5,000, and that $5,000 gives that investor one vote when it comes to choosing which companies go through the subsequent rounds of starting with 20 and then down to 10 and then down to 5, and of course the vote towards the ultimate winner in the end. On finale night, when the winner is voted on, investors are welcome to top up that initial $5K for the winning company, should they choose to, or they're also welcome to pipe in extra funds for side deals in companies that they may have a really high interest in. Side deals, if you're not aware, are money that are raised for other companies in the competition that are not the ultimate winner. And often we see investors who have maybe some sector specific experience and interest that are really interested in putting funds toward another company, even if they're not the company that won the pot at the end of the day. You might also notice that earlier on the goals slide, 200K was listed as far as where we want to end up in regards to the check size. And here it says 150K. You'll see how the numbers add up when we talk about the VC fund here in just a moment. Just so everybody knows that the way our angels come together, the angels are syndicated, and we do this so that it's really efficient for the company receiving the funds, and we take only one line on your cap table at the end of the day. So what that really means is when it comes to investor updates, the update comes to Startup TNT, and we manage the individuals out from there. Okay, so here we get to chat about the TNT Capital VC Fund. I always enjoy chatting about our VC arm. This is a fairly recent addition to the list of TNT offerings. We're currently raising $5 million Fund 1 of venture capital. This fund exists to write top-up checks to the winners of our summit in the amount of $50,000. So if you add that $50,000 to the 150K mentioned in the previous slide, you now reach that 200K goal we talked about earlier. The venture fund is also really important because the partners that are in this fund really want to work with companies and helping them and guiding them towards their Series A rounds. And for winning companies, they also have the chance to come back to us on the VC side and have some opportunity for follow-on investment through Series A and even beyond that as well. So let's chat for a second about when your company might be a good fit to take part in our summit. And there's a couple of considerations we just want to share with you today. You know, perhaps you may be at the stage where you've raised some cash from family and friends, and you're now beyond that and looking for some other opportunities. That's a really good fit if you've kind of gone through that process. If you haven't raised any cash yet, that's okay as well. But we really need our companies, it's mandated that they be at the pre-seed and seed stage companies from a financing perspective. Whether you are pre or post revenue is okay. If you're still working on your, going to market and you haven't quite been churning revenue yet, that's all right. We're more than happy to include you for consideration in this summit as well. In fact, in our very first summit in Manitoba, our winner that walked away with the prize at the end of the day was a pre-revenue company. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's just shy of 50% of companies that we've invested in overall that are pre-revenue companies. So don't let that be an obstacle for you, because it certainly is not for us. From a commercialization perspective, we've talked about that already. Pre and post revenue companies, please come on in. But also, just to bear in mind, we do need you to be incorporated, and we need that incorporation to be complete prior to March 23 of 2023, because that's essentially when the summit ends, and we need your incorporation to be complete prior to that. From a geographic perspective, we are very happy to now include our offering to not just Alberta and Saskatchewan, but Manitoba is now included as well. And we very much hope to see companies participate across all of those regions. We're really quite excited to see where all of these applications will be coming from a geographical perspective. From the side of sector, all companies applying must be able to demonstrate a novel life sciences product in development with a regulatory pathway. This regulatory pathway is key, and that's why I popped it in the chat there earlier, so that you have ease to just go and find it super quickly, so you can take a look. In regards to the product that is in development, this can include veterinary products that falls under at least one of the following. Could be drugs, including biologics, medical devices, advanced therapeutic products, ATPs, diagnostics, and you also see that link that I posted earlier. It's at the bottom of this slide here to ensure you have the ability to go and read the full criteria for company participation in life sciences. From a participation requirement, just want to make you aware. So the further you make it in this process, the longer your time commitment as a company is. So for companies that are making it from top 20 to top 5, you can expect an 8-week due diligence process that likely includes 6+ investor meetings. What is really important for me to mention here is if you do make it to the top 5, we require you to have the ability to join us in person in Calgary on March 23rd for the summit to pitch if you make the top 5. So I think with that, we're going to go into some dates here to just kind of show you the timeline of the Life Sciences Summit. So you can kind of see here the process and sort of where you can expect different levels of due diligence to start kicking in. Due diligence, DD, from that perspective, the intensity of it obviously ramps up the longer you are in the competition. Top 20, it's quite light. You'll see here, you'll either have like a virtual meeting or perhaps an in-person coffee meeting with investors and give them a chance to get to know you just a bit. At top 10, and you can see the dates on the graphic, we will be asking for access to your data room to give investors a chance to look through your corporate documents, financials, and so on. If you make it to top 5, that's really where you want to start being able to think about whether you have term sheets and subscription documents in place, should there be that interest and or if you become the winner, so that we are able to execute on that investment as efficiently as possible. Again, don't be overwhelmed by this process. It is a step-by-step process. The investors, as well as myself and Adrian, we will guide you through one step at a time. So not to worry about that. And speaking of Adrian, let's punt this right back over to him.
Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, let's see if I can get this to the next slide. Oh my gosh. There we go. So the timeline was just shown. I'll just give you a few more details in specifics about some of the big events and some of the processes. So first, we have the pitch events. These are the 2 marquee events that we hold through the summit series. The top 20 pitch night is on February 9th. That's going to be a virtual one because we're taking companies across the prairies. And again, this is headquartered across the prairies. Just to be clear, if you're incorporated elsewhere, but you're headquartered in the prairies, that's okay. So prairies companies, with the top 20 will pitch on Zoom. That will be also live streamed on YouTube. And then we'll have after parties. So we are operating in 5 cities, and we have after parties in each of those cities. We'll likely also have I'm not sure if we'll have watch parties, but we'll have after parties across the board. So that's something to bear in mind as we're thinking about this. I'm in Calgary, Gloria's in Winnipeg, but we will have after parties in Regina, Saskatoon, and Edmonton. Actually, Paramita's in Edmonton. So between the 3 of us, we're covering 3 of the 5 cities just right here. March 23rd is the summit finale. So that's where we really do ask your founders, if you're not in Calgary, be prepared. If you make it to the top 5, please be prepared to fly in, drive in, whatever, make it to Calgary so you can pitch live and in person on stage there. And you can meet our investors there or any of the Calgary investors or those who come in as well. But that pitch night's a lot of fun. It's a big event, and then there's an after party there as well. But we also do stream this on Zoom, over Zoom and YouTube, so that our investors in Ontario and BC and elsewhere can also watch and participate in the process. What does that process look like? Okay, so the top 20 pitch night. How do we first choose the top 20? So our goal is more than 40 applications, and the investors will score those applications. Will rank score them so that we get the top 20 there, and we'll let the top 20 know with roughly a week to 2 weeks and a half before the pitch night. So I think it's actually almost 2 weeks before the pitch night. The scoring is simple. The investors do it individually, and then it's tabulated in secret. And then we are then given the top 20 to then work with. So that's when DD starts. You will also, before your top 20 pitch, if you make it to the top 20, you will be paired with a peer. So you'll have a peer-to-peer pitch practice that you can do. These are people, founders generally, who've gone through the process before. I didn't let you guys know at the front, I actually was first introduced to Startup TNT on your side of the table. I was a pitching company, founder of a company that pitched and received investment almost 2 years ago now. So really, that was a great time. Since then, I've lost change, and I've joined the TNT team as both an investor and as on the team. So next we go to the top 10. So after the pitch night, the investors will then, over the next week to 2 weeks, they'll have that first DD meeting. We will get those conversations rolling, and we'll vote down to the top 10. At the top 10 level, that's when we really start the due diligence with the data room and those things. So we certainly encourage companies to get their data rooms ready well before then, so there's no rush to get that data room prepared. But we want to have your data room there available to our investor group. Because you will generally have one or two investors who are going to be leading that charge on your company, working with you to if you don't already have a lead investor, to help you with your deal terms, help you with your safes, to make sure that we have that all finalized prior to the final vote. And the final vote, so we're going down to 5. That's when the deal terms need to get finalized before the final vote on the 23rd, where we choose the winner. And so on the 23rd, we're going to have the pitches, and then the investors will go and deliberate in a room where we will do our final scoring and ranking. It takes about 45 minutes. We'll come back after that, and we'll announce the winner and potentially any side deals that are happening. As I mentioned in the chat, on average, every summer we've run, I think the average is almost just under 3 side deals. So it's an average, so it's not a straight number, but we've always had 2 to 3 side deals in every summit that we've run. So that's, that 3 to 4 deals in total per summit. So it's really, really good track record. There's a good chance of the last life science summit we had, I think there was 3 deals done. So there was a winner and 2 side deals, and the money raised was just about $760,000. So just shy of $750,000, just more than $750,000. So every summit's a little different. We're setting our goal for the winner at 200, but certainly if we get side deals, those numbers generally get much higher. Okay, we also, if you have any questions about the process as it's written here, happy to go into it in more detail. But really, we have mechanisms for tiebreakers. We've gone through this 19 times already, so we've got it kind of really dialed in. But if you do have any questions, please let us know. Maybe raise your hand or throw it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of move forward here. Yeah. So what to expect during the due diligence? What does due diligence look like? So again, it sort of ramps up through the process. At the top 20 stage, generally it's a coffee meeting. It's like 1 hour, could be over Zoom, depending on where you're located or where the investors who want to be there are located. So it might be over Zoom, but if you're in person in the city that we're in or that the investor's in, we'll have a coffee meeting with the founder. We'll also then, as we move down the process, you can expect to have more in-depth conference calls, potentially some depending on where you are in your life cycle, different stages of reference follow-ups. Generally for more mature companies with customers, we like to talk to 1 or 2 customers, but certainly in the life sciences page, summit, we find that companies are much further from revenue than in our other summits, and so that the references may not happen. Sharing virtual data rooms, that is a critical step. If you don't have a data room, if you don't know how to do one, we have links. We can help you build that data room to be ready for the top 10 if you make it to the top 10. Also, the deal structure negotiations. We do see companies that have a lead and they have very structured deal terms, and that's great. But we also see companies that this is their first time raising with a structured deal term, maybe a first time seeing a safe or a convertible note or something like that. So we will help you. We have people on our team that can help you structure those deal terms so that they're in place prior to the finale. Also demos, depending on the type of company you are, if you have a demo or IP that you can share, certainly we will like to look at that. We like to see that, but every company obviously has different stages and different details. So these are just examples. Okay, this is all right. And in addition to this, so one extra thing we haven't mentioned yet is we give the investors education, but we also give the entrepreneurs yourselves education on how to, as you go through this process. So we run an education series. Generally, it's Tuesday at 10 a.m. They're all recorded, so if you can't make it, that's fine. All previous education sessions are also available on our YouTube channel. Here's a couple of good examples here that we can share the links for. We have a pitch boot camp that was given by Kevin Dahl from Plug and Play, John Lipoth, who's at Rhino Ventures in Vancouver. We also offer the peer-to-peer pitch practice. And then another good example on the data room and the due diligence, we have some recordings from past summits, like preparing for due diligence with Arden C. Arden's at Yaletown Ventures. He's they run the Accelerate Fund 3. But we also are running new entrepreneur education sessions every summit. So there should be 6 education sessions available to you to attend in person, ask questions live of the presenter. But if you can't make it, those will be recorded. And so here we go. And then we have one last thing as you're going through. What else you can expect? A little bit of founder etiquette. Just we work with the founders. We like to give feedback. We want to help you guys scale. It's really one of the fundamental principles of TNT is we're here to support startups. So we will give feedback. Our investors will give feedback. So we say have some strong opinions, but make sure they're loosely held and be receptive to feedback. Our core principles. We want to make friends. Have fun and build companies. So we want you to also make friends with the local investors in the regions that you work because they want to support you. And we're here to assist and encourage fellow entrepreneurs as well. Like I said, I was a startup co-founder at one point in my life. And so I understand how challenging it is to be an entrepreneur. And Gloria's worked with startups for many, many years. So, and Paramita as well. Like we are all here as part of the community, the startup community.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Gloria, this is you.
Okay, so going forward, if you have questions that you want to ask that are specific to your company, I'll pop I put my email in the chat a little bit earlier, but feel free to reach out at any time to myself or Adrian. But from the perspective of companies having questions, I've sort of taken this on. So please do reach out to me. I am very happy to speak with you about any of your needs. As far as communication from TNT, what you can expect from us are weekly email updates as you're going through the summit. We also would love to see you out at our weekly TNT happy hours in whichever city you are located. Today is Thursday, so that means we've got happy hours going on tonight. Whether you're in Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, Saskatchewan, or Winnipeg, we'd love to see you and have you come out and be introduced to you and just get to know a little bit about your company. And our tagline is have fun, make friends, build companies, and that's what these happy hours are really meant to do. One of the things, and I know Adrian already referenced it a bit, is we want to make sure that we provide you with a really positive experience overall, but also give you an entrepreneur resource base to draw from as well. And so really, in regards to happy hours, there's no registration, there's no formal programming. Just come, show up, hang out. We'd love to meet you. You can see the locations here where they are in each of the cities. We hold these every single week. It's on a very consistent basis. So please come on out. We'd really, really love to see you. And then very last here at the end, as Adrian switches over kind of to our last slide, just to remind you that Adrian and myself will be co-leading this summit together. If you have questions, don't hesitate. This is what we're here for. This is what we do all day, every day. And we're very happy to see that everyone has come out today and taken some time out of your schedule to hear what the Life Sciences Summit is all about. You can see the email addresses there at the bottom of the screen, your friends at startuptnt.com, but you can also reach out to Adrian and myself directly. And so with that, thank you so much for coming, and we're going to open it for questions right now. If anybody has any, we'd love to hear them.
And I'm just going to go back one slide and point out that there is no happy hour this week in Saskatoon.
Ah, perfect. Yes, thank you, Adrian.
No problem. It's, yeah, and I think they're doing a holiday thing, or there's another organization in Saskatoon that's having a holiday event.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
think they're going there.
yeah.
But next week they'll be back.
We've still got 4 others going on, so still want to see you come out. But yes, questions. Feel free to come off mute, put questions in the chat. We will do our best to address anything you'd like to know. Samrita.
Hi. Thank you so much for it was a very good session, very informative. Thanks everybody for putting their time and efforts in compiling this presentation. I have a quick question. We have started a company, and it's you would say it's a very we actually incorporated this company in 2018, but haven't done any business. But we have actively started now working on this company from like couple of months now, 2 or 3 months. Now, my question is, does it really matter how old your company is in this business, or how new you are, or it doesn't really matter?
No, no, whether you've been around, what we care about more is what life cycle stage you are at with your company from a fundraising perspective. So if you are in that pre-seed and seed stage company, you're absolutely welcome to apply.
Okay, so right now, if I don't have any funding, I come up with a zero.
That's okay.
That's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
And does it matter? Like we do, what conceptually, like I do have a background in the technology, but I haven't developed those technologies myself. So what we are doing, we are collaborating with the labs that I have worked with, or my colleagues have worked with, and we're trying to license those technologies and then take it further to the commercialization. Does it really matter that companies should have developed that technology by themselves, or they're licensing, or they're getting it from anywhere? How do you see that thing?
I'm going to let Adrian answer that question, actually.
I'd say all of these are generally on a case-by-case basis, and I'd say I need more information, really. And you can have a follow-up chat, and I'm sure Paramita, we have a follow-up and look at every company. So I'd say if you have any doubts, please apply. The application is quite quick and simple. It's just a Google form. You can go back and edit it and change things at a later date. But certainly, if you have a pitch deck or a presentation you can share, put your application in, and then we'll take a look. With the website has far more details on the eligibility criteria. The slide we showed, we try to simplify it for the presentation, but the eligibility criteria is there. But at the end of the day, if you have any doubts, reach out to us, send us a pitch deck. We're happy to have a chat and figure out whether you should apply, whether you're eligible or not. I would say we want to err on the side of apply.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I see Omar off mute.
Yes, ma'am.
How can we help you?
Well, the question I have is about structured deal terms and what a SAFE agreement is. I don't know if now is a good time to talk about that, or if you could talk about another time. I'm cool with that.
Have you ever seen a SAFE agreement?
No.
Okay, so that's one thing we can definitely take care of for you. So just so you know, the SAFE part, SAFE, that stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equity. And it is a type of structure that's become more and more common for founders to use when they're kind of raising those initial stages of funding, because it is probably the quickest and most efficient agreement to get across the line and favors founders, and is quite good for founders to be able to use. And investors have become more and more accustomed over time to seeing these as well. We see lots of companies raising money on SAFE agreements. If you pop your email in the chat there, I'll send you a sample of a SAFE agreement. The Y Combinator SAFE agreement is the one that we look at pretty frequently, and then you can take a look.
Yeah, I was going to say that Y Combinator developed the safe agreements. It became sort of a Silicon, or has become a Silicon Valley sort of standard. And it is a good compromise between founders and investors, because it for various reasons, which we can talk about. And we do have, I think we have past education recordings that describe sort of safes and different deal structures, but certainly we are a little agnostic to deal structures. Just remember that when we are voting and we're looking at companies, everything is considered. So market, deal terms, all of that comes into consideration, right? So that's part of the exercise, part of the learning, and part of the voting as well.
Absolutely. I've just popped a link in the chat there that takes you directly to the page on the Y Combinator website. Just take a look. Just remember, Y Combinator covers both US and Canadian companies, and there's a section there for non-US companies. You can find several templates right there of safe agreements.
Yeah,
cool.
For
Thank you.
those who've never seen Y Combinator's site, actually, it's got a huge library of resources.
Really does.
Massive library of resources on everything. It's got lots of blogs on safes that can really tell the story. But also, if you Google safes, I know DLA Piper in Vancouver has a really good memo on safes as well.
Anything else? Don't see anyone else coming off mute.
Okay, we have some time. Should we do just a quick founders? Do you guys want to just quickly run through and give us a 30 second who you are, so we can kind of get a little teaser pre-summit?
Love to hear it.
Okay, well, we'll start with, on my screen, I've got Craig Stenhouse.
Hi, everyone. It's Craig here. I've co-founded a company called MedPlant Science, and basically we are focused on developing medication based off of nano-encapsulation technology using psychedelic ingredients to treat mental health challenges. And right off the bat, we've successfully proven we can encapsulate psilocybin at the molecular level. And the idea being is that it offers clinicians a greater ability to treat patients with respect to dosing onset, duration of therapeutic experience, with a number of different variables that are not quite there when you just ingest it through an oral format. And that's my Coles Notes version. Thanks for having me, Adrian.
Thanks, Craig.
And that was MedPlant Science, right, Craig? Yeah, and I've already talked to Craig too. I think it's a class 2 med device as well.
That is, sorry, I did have a question on that. I was going to ask, does that, if it's in the regulatory approval process, does that still qualify for the, okay, thank you.
Yeah, in the process, pre-process, so long as it's along the pathway, that's okay. And we even have companies that may have got approvals, but they might need funding for commercialization or something like that. As long as it's something in the approval pathway.
I see Kathleen next on my screen. Would you like to just give us a quick introduction to your company?
Yeah, of course. So I'm here with Waveview Imaging. We are developing a novel breast imaging / sensing medical device to essentially improve breast cancer care for women everywhere. We're really excited to apply and listen to the rest of these pitches.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kathleen. Samrita.
Hey, thank you so much, Craig and Kathleen, for introductions. Very exciting to see, all of you. And my company name is Conless Global Inc., a very generic name, but we work on a couple of different directions. We do clinical trials and we do lab startups. But from an innovation standpoint, I have a background in regenerative medicine and tissue engineering. So we have few products from a regenerative medicine concepts of regenerative medicine. And one of the products which we have researched a lot is a bone wide filler. So it's a calcium and nanohydroxyapatite bone filler, which has a huge application in filling up the cracks. So the good thing or innovative thing about this bone filler is that you don't need to have an open surgery to fill the gap. It comes as an injection. It comes as a vial which you mix, and you mix two different things which I cannot reveal right now, and then you inject it into the bone crack, and the crack can heal on its own. I would say 4 weeks to 6 weeks. That's what we have seen in animal studies. And we kind of see this product to be to have an application in veterinary sciences and human sciences. And this is a class 2 medical device. And similar products have been approved under 510K. And I'm very hopeful that we don't have to go to the de novo pathway. We can pretty much go with the 510K, which has a very fast approval rates. Thank you.
Look at that. We've already got connections in the chat. People
That's
are
what we'd like to
connected.
see.
Omar wants to connect with Samrita.
For sure.
Omar, why don't you go next?
Sounds good. So my company is, can you guys hear me okay? All right, my company is called Sagittal Dynamics, and we have a patent pending treatment for obstructive sleep apnea. So there's, over 1 billion people worldwide have obstructive sleep apnea. It lowers your lifespan. It's a devastating thing to have. And about half the people who have it they're not overweight, they're slim people. And the reason why they have it is because of a craniofacial underdevelopment. So their upper jaw is underdeveloped. It's tilted down and back, and that pulls the lower jaw down and back, which moves the tongue into the throat. And when the tongue goes into the throat, you have a blocked airway at night, and that's what causes obstructive sleep apnea. So we have a method of reshaping the midface by bringing the upper jaw up and forward, which allows the lower jaw to come up and forward as well. Right now it's done with a major surgery. So they break both jaws and they put screws and plates in there. It's invasive and expensive. And basically we can achieve something very similar for a fraction of the time, fraction of the cost, way less invasion, and something much more natural.
Omar, what's your company called?
Sagittal Dynamics. Yeah, because sagittal, this is the sagittal plane of the face. And right now it's considered static. But with our technology, we've made the sagittal plane dynamic. So we move bone. We have a way of moving bone and creating new bone in the face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to check it out. We are tight on time, but we have a question from Kathleen.
Sorry, I have a quick question. I'm just curious if this has the potential to serve a cosmetic purpose.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
No problem.
And Kathleen, to add up to that point, the bone filler that we are making can also have a cosmetic application. We're trying to see if we can use it for craniofacial reconstructions in future.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Right on. Okay, let's go Shamal Bose. Are you there? Okay, well, we'll move to Candace Sawchuk, if you're there. Maybe not. My mic's on, right? Everyone can hear me?
Okay. We can hear you.
Okay.
Either Novacan or Clara.
Oh, Novacan just left.
Okay, Clara, if you're there.
Tam, you're up.
Maybe not.
Okay.
That's all right.
Well, that's okay. We've got some incredible founders who presented the companies. Just so happy they were the first ones we called. That's fantastic. And with that, I think, any last questions, guys? We've got 5 minutes to the hour. No? Okay, well, I will thank you all for coming. It's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing the applications, get to know. I would say one last thing. We're running 2 other summits, Ag Tech and Clean Tech. And if you know any founders or working in those spaces, please let them know. The applications are due January 24th. Please, open it up, start it. You don't have to finalize it. You can always edit it later, even after you've submitted it. We're not going to evaluate or screen anything until the 24th, unless you want feedback earlier.
Yeah, that's right. So great to meet everyone today. Have a great day. Don't forget to let us know if you have any questions.
And come to the happy hours. Come to the happy hours. I'll be at the Calgary one around 8 o'clock today.